I'd like to welcome everyone to council meeting this evening. All council members are present and accounted for. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ethan Adamson, I'm reading it and it says, yeah. And then Guy Fugel will offer the opening remarks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you join me as I lead you in prayer? Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful this evening to be together as a community. We ask Thee to help us as we go forward, that we may work together, all citizens in this beautiful place that Thou hast given us, that we may make it the community that we all love and continue to. We're so truly blessed to be part of that. Now, Father, help us as we go throughout this evening. Help us in our lives each day as we go about and bless us. And we're grateful for all the blessings Thou hast given us, and especially where we live in this great state and our great union. And we're truly blessed, Father, for all Thou hast given us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
No, they're not.
Okay. I'll call for a motion.
May I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Eric, a second by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we'll have an open session now. If there's something that's not on the agenda or that it's not an open public hearing, feel free to get up and take 3 minutes to state your name, and then you have 3 minutes to express yourself.
My name is Steve Black. I am with the Provo Independent Order of Odd Fellows here in Pleasant Grove, and it is time for our yearly treats in the park. I know it's only September, but it will be here before you know it. This year it's going to be on Tuesday, October the 31st, from 3 to 5 p.m. This is our 15th year doing it. And we are working with a radio station that may be broadcasting live from it this year, which would be a great thing for us. We have businesses coming from all over Utah again this year to hand out candy. We're asking the city council to come out, the fire department and the police department. I know we'll also be on hand, even though the fire department doesn't have a building at the moment. But I'm sure they will be on hand. We love any businesses, not just in Utah County. Anywhere in Utah who would like to come out, it's a great way to advertise your business, hand out candy for a couple hours. Last year we had almost 3,000 kids come through. And so it's grown every year. The flyer will be emailed, so it will go into the website, and I do have a couple of copies for anyone who would like one.
I like one. Is your contact information on there?
Yes, it is.
Because I'd like to give it to our Pleasant Grove Linden Chamber of Commerce director and have him work with you on making sure businesses involved in PG and the chamber can be a part of this event, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for always hosting this. People look forward to this every year. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll close the open session, come back up here. Any discussion on the consent item?
I have a question on the consent item, if I might ask it, Mayor. And this is a question maybe Mike Smith or Denise, you could help me with. I was looking at the list of vehicles purchased for the police department, and one of the things I noticed about it was that we have about 14 vehicles, and the 9 Ford Explorers 2017 SUVs are all exactly the same price, but the 5 trucks are very different in price. Every one of them costs a different amount.
That's because the trade-ins that we provided to the dealership were all different.
Okay.
The 9 vehicles were part of a 2-year lease, and then we had 5 vehicles that were older than 2 years. And yeah, they were 5 years old. So when we traded those in on the lease agreement, the prices were just different because we had like a Taurus and different vehicles, so we didn't have all the same vehicles away from those other 9.
It was actually a good, just as far as, it's always an eye-opener when you look at a vehicle on the front end on what the cost is, but this was a good example of vehicles on the back end of their use of life to the city, where those Tauruses were a little bit cheaper up front, but on the back end ended up, we actually lost money running those, where they averaged about $10,000 trade-in, and the Explorers averaged $18,000 trade-in for a vehicle, the same year, about same miles.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion that we approve tonight's consent agenda items.
Second.
We have a motion by Sid and a second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. We have no boards and commissions appointments, no presentations, no public hearing items, so we're going to go to item 10A, to consider for approval the design and wording of a monument sign for the first battle, it says skirmish, between the Ute Indians and soldiers from Camp Douglas on 12th of April, 1863. Ethan is going to have a presentation, but I'm going to turn it over to Tina.
Mayor and Council, we've been approached by an Eagle Scout, Ethan Adamson, and he's requesting the opportunity to erect a permanent monument, a marker in our Pioneer Park. We do have a policy for placing those monuments. The criteria basically is that the display needs to have some connection either with our city history, state history, or national history. This particular monument actually covers quite a few of those, actually all of them. It is in reference to a Civil War battle that took place in 1863. It involves, it was here in Pleasant Grove, so it satisfies that criteria, and it was between the Ute Indians and a contingent of soldiers that came from Fort Douglas. So it was also significant in Utah history as well. So I'll turn the time over to Ethan, and he has a presentation about the battle itself, I believe, and then also a slide presentation about what he would like to do as far as the monument goes.
Okay. Ethan? Now, Ethan, is this your Eagle project that you're working on? Yes. Okay.
This is the, sorry.
Ethan, you can take that microphone and move it and actually put it right up to you. You can pull it
Just
off.
hold
there,
it.
too.
And you can hold it as well.
If you stand on one leg.
And run backwards. This is the monument near the corner of State Street on 100 East, Pleasant Grove, across the street from the Purple Turtle. Most people in Pleasant Grove don't know that it is here, or if they do, they think it is about the 1849 Indian battle at the mouth of Battle Creek Canyon. This is the plaque on the current monument, and it says, "This rock monument, built in 1830 on the 80th anniversary of the settling of Pleasant Grove, commemorates the Sunday morning of 12 April 1863 attack by Indians on Colonel Connor's army troops. The battle occurred outside the fort wall and from within and near the John Green house, which was situated 1 block south of the wall, probably at this site." This is a family photo of the John and Sarah Green home where part of the skirmish took place. Its plan is to have an etching of this home placed on the plaque above the wording of the skirmish. The current monument is in a poor condition and there is no room to upgrade to a larger monument. The current monument is in a poor location where it is barely visible and there is no parking near or around the monument. The bottom star is the current monument location. The upper star is the historical park where we would like to put the monument. More people will see it and they will be directed to the old monument. Another reason for a new monument is to show the increased importance of this skirmish with the Indians in Pleasant Grove. This is the cover of the newer edition of the books used to pay pensions to Civil War service members. The author calls the Civil War the War of Rebellion. This tells us that it was compiled from official records and lists the author, Newman A. Straight. This is the reply from the Department of the Interior thanking him for their generous offer and telling him how much the first book proved of valuable assistance to the work of this bureau. This is the page where the skirmish in Pleasant Grove, Utah is found. At the top it tells that it is an alphabetical list of battles and that places that are starred are skirmishes of the Civil War. This is a close-up of the Pleasant Grove, Utah skirmish. As you can see, the Pleasant Grove, Utah is starred, showing that it is a skirmish. Me and my grandfather went to the University of Utah Marriott Library to the Special Editions section, where we looked at documents from Fort Douglas and the above history book. The account of the skirmish for the plaque was taken mainly from the above book, but can also be found in Timpanogos Town by Howard R. Driggs and 2 Deseret News accounts from that time. This is a draft of the plaque that will be made of polished granite. I will have my father read this.
It says, Civil War skirmish at Pleasant Grove, 12 April 1863. Not all Federal troops fought Confederates during the Civil War. Some were posted in the West to protect Union interests. Battles and skirmishes in the West were considered part of the Civil War. Colonel Patrick Connor and the 3rd Regiment California Volunteer Infantry were sent to Utah in 1862 to watch the Mormons, protect mail routes, telegraph lines, and travelers. They established Camp Douglas, now Fort Douglas, in Salt Lake City. Indians started attacking the Overland stage route. As events escalated, they sent out troops in April of 1863 to find the Indians. They had skirmishes with the Indians near Cedar Fort and in Spanish Fork Canyon. A squad of gunners with a howitzer under Lieutenant Honeyman was dispatched from Camp Douglas to help. They reached Pleasant Grove 11 April 1863. The morning of the 12th, the Ute Indians used the wall of the Pleasant Grove fort to sneak up on the soldiers and attack them. The gunners took refuge in the Greens' home outside the fort. The family was allowed to leave but realized that the baby was still in the home. Because the family had been on good terms with the Utes, they stopped firing to allow Miss Green to retrieve the baby. During the fighting, the gunners fired the howitzer only to kill mules and damage property. The skirmish ended at 8 p.m. when the Utes left stealing the remaining mules. No soldiers were killed, and it is unknown if any Utes died. Estimated damage to the home was $1,000. The cavalry arrived in Pleasant Grove on the 13th. They followed the Ute trail to Spanish Fork Canyon, and with the soldiers already there, routed the combined Indian forces. The monument at what is thought to be the site of the John and Sarah Green home can be found 3 blocks south of this location. It is best reached by walking along the east sidewalk.
This is an example of a polished granite plaque on a monument in American Fork. Mr. Dion Giles, the Director of Parks and Recreation, has signed off on the project. The Pleasant Grove City Attorney has looked at our proposal and said that it fits the city's policy on adding a new monument to the Pioneer Historic Park. The National Society of the Sons of Utah Pioneers has approved the monument and has assigned it a site number, as you can see on the plaque draft. This is the north part of the Pioneer Historical Park in Pleasant Grove, and the sign states that items displayed in Pioneer Park have some connection to the settlement history, people, or cultural life of Pleasant Grove. And this has history with Pleasant Grove because it is a Civil War skirmish that took place here. This is the south part of the park. The proposed location is between the shed and the sidewalk. It is 3 blocks north of the old monument site, and there's a sidewalk along the street where you can walk to the old monument. Directions will be on the new monument. This is the drawing of an example of the type of monument that I intend to build. The site would be staked out, that I intend to build. The site would be staked out at the site that Mr. Giles directs, the lawn removed and the hole dug for the base. The area would be compacted with gravel using a portable compactor and leveled so the monument won't tip once completed. A 6-foot concrete base would be poured with rebar horizontally halfway through the depth of the base. Vertical rebar will go through the cored concrete blocks that will make the inner column of the monument. The inner column of the monument will be made of cored concrete blocks with brick ties placed along the edges to tie the rocks and mortar to this column. A preformed pier cap will be placed on top. Thank you for your consideration. Are there any questions?
I have a couple questions. This is awesome. Is the current monument going to come down, or will it stay where it's at and then you're going to build a new one in addition to that?
It will stay up. We'll build a new monument, and there will be directions to the old monument if the person would like to walk.
What's the main difference between a battle and a skirmish?
Battle.
It's a size?
Size, yes.
Okay.
Skirmish would be like a squad of soldiers, which would be this, which is a small.
Mm-hmm.
Companies and battalions.
That's cool. And when are you expecting to construct the monument?
We do not have an absolute time, but if this is approved, we believe that we will start construction on the 11th, yeah.
Of September?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool because that's the day of our Heritage Festival from 5 to 9 down here in the downtown park, and that would be a really neat way to honor our heritage by starting the monument on that day. What made you decide to do this?
I was looking for an Eagle project, and my grandpa brought it to me.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Well, thank you. I think this is really cool because I actually noticed that monument the other day as I was driving down, by Purple Turtle and wondered, I didn't know exactly what it was. So I think this will make more people aware because that's a really, really neat thing to have in that area. So thank you.
That's another thing. My grandfather, he's lived here since 1925, and he didn't even know that.
It's kind of hidden, so this will be great.
Well, and the
Thank
fact
you.
that it was part of this Civil War.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a really awesome project. I have a question that maybe staff is better equipped to answer, but I noticed some differences in the plaque language as presented in our packet versus the one read, and I'm wondering which is the one that we will actually implement.
The one that is red will be the one that will most likely be implemented. We are still working on getting grammar correct and other stuff.
Great, thanks. Thanks for doing this.
Any other questions for Ethan?
It's a great project.
Okay, so the action is for us to consider approval
of a monument sign for the first battle skirmish between the Ute Indians and soldiers from Camp Douglas on 12 April 1863 as part of the Civil War.
Second.
We have a motion by Ben and a second by Sid. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Appreciate that, Ethan. Okay, item B, 10B is to consider awarding Newman Construction, Inc., the Walker Booster Pump Station Electrical Conduit Project. Authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed and agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents. Marty?
To disconnect here.
Working on it. New computer.
Waiting for Marty to connect.
Working, so that's good. I wanted to show you a couple quick pictures since we're going so fast tonight on the agenda.
Want to slow it down a little bit, huh?
My mouse working. All right, this is our Walker tank site. Thought it'd be fun to show you a couple quick pictures of what the tank is looking like. This was last week at our progress meeting. Sorry, I should be talking into this. And as you can see, the walls are going up. I think they've completed 2 pours now on the walls. They do sections. They'll be sectioning that off all the way around. And so that's a view from the street. This is a view from inside, how tall those walls are. They're about 24 foot in height. You can see all the reinforcement that goes into a tank. That nature, very large, very huge reinforcement mats. And you can see that they're getting ready to do the columns and such for the roof.
Is there a solid surface on the top?
There will be. Right now, the plan is to put a concrete lid on the top. Is that what you're asking, Mayor?
Yeah, this was going to be an open, and then...
It was going to be open, and as we kind of went through it, we've decided to go ahead and put the concrete lid on the top. So anyways, just thought it'd be fun to show you a few pictures of of where that's at if you haven't been up there on the site. And then what this project is we need, here's the Walker tank site. We have a pump station here next to the tank that's not begun construction yet. We currently have power back here this is the Grove Creek detention basin. There's a big power line here, and we need to get power from there to those pumps, which requires, the project had in it the power out to 1300 West. We knew that we would have to work with Rocky Mountain Power to determine where the source would be for the pump station, and the location of that is right here on Dalton Ave. So this contract is to install a 6-inch conduit from that location back to the city's property here on 13th East. And then we'll be working with Rocky Mountain Power to come in and install the power conduit, or the wires and things like that, to get it back to the site to make the connection to our pump station. So rather than just giving this to the pipe contractor that was doing the work on site, we decided to bid it out to 3 contractors. As you can see in your packet, there were 3 contractors, Newman, Geneva Rock, and then Jacobson. Jacobson is the one that was doing the site work, and he ended up being twice almost of what the other contractors gave us, so we were happy to Newman Construction.
Any questions for Marty? So we're just installing the conduit, and then Rocky Mountain will pull the lines from point A to point B.
That's correct. There will be another cost with that. Rocky Mountain Power won't do that for free, and that will be coming shortly before you. But this is where our sources.
Are we pulling lines from the tank up the hill?
So yes, that'll all be part of the contract. We'll have to get it with our electrician. They'll get it into the power box that'll be set up on 13th East, and that will be our source to the pump station. But they will get it all the way to that box that will be at that location.
How long will the project take?
A couple weeks. Should be pretty quick. It's a 6-inch pipe, but it only goes 3 foot deep, and it just is going to be installed right along the edge of the curb. Probably
2 or 3 weeks. And then the pavement contractor, we're going to have Geneva Rock with the other pavement work come in and do the final paving.
Is it a flexible, like dig and drop and bury, or do you have to actually trench?
They'll trench. It's PVC as what the type of pipe. It's a gray Schedule 80 PVC pipe is what's planned. So.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we award Newman Construction, Inc., the Walker Booster Pump Station Electrical and Conduit Project, authorizing the mayor to sign the notice to proceed an agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents.
Second.
Amount of. Amount?
Can you state that, Marty, the specific amount?
So $55,580.
And the amount as stated by Director Beaumont.
Okay.
How's that?
So we have a motion by Sid, a second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Still standing there, so it must be item C. All right, to consider for adoption a resolution 2017-053, authorizing the mayor to declare two 2016 Toyota Tundra trucks as surplus and direct that they be disposed of according to the city's policy for disposing of surplus property.
Great, thank you. Mayor, Council, this item is to surplus 2 of our newer Toyota Tundras that we bought. They're coming up on 2 years old. In our discussion a few years ago when we bought them, we discussed the concept of being able to resell them fairly quickly to be able to maintain their value. An example of that is we purchased those vehicles for just over $33,000. We've put a little bit into them, like a bed cover, a liner in the back. I think we're about $34,000 into those trucks right now. Current mileage, I have 9,300 miles on that vehicle. Everything's in great condition. It's cost us $0 in maintenance. Free oil changes. Tires are still great. Everything's in great condition. I quickly just went to Kelley Blue Book to see what the value would be if we wanted to list that. That's a good condition. I think this would actually be an excellent condition. There's nothing wrong with the vehicle. You're probably anywhere from $34,000 to $35,000 in actual sale value for a private party sale, which is how we have been doing those. We feel it's a very good value for us to have a vehicle for 2 years, have no maintenance costs, and be able to resell it for the same purchase value, and that's why we're recommending to surplus these 2 vehicles, and we will be working on getting 2 additional vehicles to replace those and plan to do the same thing in those in the future.
Questions for Marty?
Marty, I've had people ask what they can do if they want to bid on those, if they want to be a purchaser. It's done through Salt Lake, is that
This process that we've worked out is all through noticing on KSL. So we'll just post them and notice them on KSL and sell them. Anybody can submit a bid. There'll be I think it's a 2-week process. They could submit a bid, and there will be a minimum bid that we'll allow, and then they can submit their bid, and then the highest bidder will get it. But it's all public process. There isn't employee. I mean, an employee can, but they don't have any preferential treatment to anybody else making a bid on those initial.
So we don't outsource that process. We handle it with our own staff.
For these vehicles, that's how we've chosen to do that. I know that there is another process where we take those and have those sold for us. Typically, we've done that with all of our older vehicles where there's less value in them, but we've chosen to keep these newer vehicles and do them through KSL. We've had success in doing that.
Okay, thanks. Do you know when they'll go up for auction so I can let people know? Or when they'll be listed, I guess?
It's probably in the next couple of months. We don't know exactly. We're waiting to see when the other vehicles would be in first, and then we'll post them so that we can not have too much of a gap.
Okay.
Just to be clear, you're selling vehicles at a price that you can turn around and buy another one for nothing? I mean,
So, Mayor, the new vehicles, they go up in value every year, so you can't buy them for the same price that you sold them for. So we do have a vehicle budget that does have that increase in it, but we are selling them for the price that we bought them for, so there's no cost of that.
wow. We're in the wrong line of work. Oh, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2017-53, authorizing the mayor to declare two 2016 Toyota Tundra trucks as surplus and directs that they be disposed of according to the city's policy of disposing of surplus property.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Eric and a second by Diane. Lynn?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Sid?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're going to look at the 2012, or the September 12th City Council Work Session Meeting Agenda.
Sorry, Mayor, can we move item number 17 and 18 up to next on the agenda? That's our
Council okay
RDA.
with that?
We need to have an RDA meeting
Sure.
while Randy's here.
All right, we're going to skip down to items 17 and 18. We need to adjourn and convene as the redevelopment agency of Pleasant Grove City. Motion to adjourn.
I make the motion that we adjourn as a city council and reconvene as a Pleasant Grove City Redevelopment Agency.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sid, second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I don't know who got the lights, but can we get the lights back on?
I don't know, it's kind of nice.
Well, you know,
Get them
that's
off
the
there.
main. Hey, Randy? Oh, sorry.
Okay, we're convened as the Pleasant Grove City Redevelopment Agency. Item 2, to consider for adoption Resolution 2017-08 RDA, authorizing the chair of the redevelopment agency to enter into and execute a participation agreement with St. John Properties in the Grove Tower Economic Development Project area. The participation agreement sets forth the conditions of reimbursement to St. John's Properties for certain costs involved in developing the project area and providing for an effective date. Randy?
Very good, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Just for a little bit of background, as you'll recall, over the last year or so, we've gone through a process of going to the different taxing districts and asking them to participate on this project. And the last one that we entered into, I believe, was in March or April of this year with Central Utah Water. So we completed all that. They have all agreed to formalizes our agreement with Grove Tower as far as what they're going to do and what we're going to do for the purpose of giving them the tax increment. And so the two sections that are probably the most important in the agreement is the section that deals with what Grove Tower is going to do. And as you'll recall, we had different negotiations with Grove Tower, but basically what they have agreed to do is they've agreed to build a Class A office tower, which is under construction, at least 6 stories in height, at least 189,000 square feet in total size, of which they will reach out and bring in a tenant, a name-recognized tenant that will lease at least 33% of the building. So there is some identity associated with the building. And that they will also build 36,500 square feet of inline retail and up to 15,000 square feet of pads. And that project is supposed to have an assessed valuation of $38.5 million. Based on what we've seen, I think that number is going to be small. I think the assessed value is going to come in much larger. And that's good, because if that does, we could pay the incentive off quicker. So there's nothing wrong with a higher assessed value. If it comes in smaller, then chances are they'll just not get everything that we told them they would get. So in exchange for that, and then billing that, then the redevelopment agency has agreed to give them the increment at the percentages agreed to by the taxing entities for a period of 20 years or a cap of 4.6 million, whichever comes first. And that 4.6 million covers the costs that we have identified are extraordinary or extra costs associated with the project. There was some soil stabilization, there was some storm drain work, there was things like that that needed to be done. So this agreement will put into place those commitments that would move forward, and we will officially be completed with that, let them build it, let them get it on tax rolls, and then let everybody benefit from that great project that will be happening right off the freeway. So that's what this agreement does. So you've already agreed to the participation. You've already signed those. We just now need to agree to the participation with Grove Tower or St. John's property.
So just for a review, the total reimbursement amount is capped at 4.6.
That is correct.
What was the city's portion?
The city's portion of that was $1,527,000, or approximately $76,350 a year. And in return for that, when we count your 25% property taxes you will retain, plus the increased sales tax of about $1.6 million, and the anticipated franchise tax that you will get, which is $1.4 million, we estimate that over 20 years you will see about $4,016,000 of benefit coming from that, which is equal to $200,000 a year. So the city's giving up $76,000 in property tax to reap $200,000 of additional tax. That's what the benefit is to the city.
Okay. And is the 200 the net, or is it 125?
200,000 would be your net. Or it'd be 200,000 minus the 76, so 125 would be your net. That is correct.
Great. Everybody got that? Okay. All right. Any other questions? If not,
I've got a quick question, if I may, Randy. The other tax entities have a different definition of the project. Is that how it works? Because some of the tax entities didn't include the inline retail as part of the project.
That is correct. Some of the tax entities did not want to participate on the inline retail. They wanted to participate only on the office tower. So that is why there might be some difference on that.
Does that affect the cap or the percentages for the city?
No. The cap was based upon the amount of money that we got from all of the taxing entities at their percentages within the agreement.
As they stated.
As they stated. That is correct.
And this includes the mandatory housing in there, right?
The mandatory housing is included in there, and our plan is that we need to collect that, but if we do not use that, then that'll be reimbursed to them.
Okay, further questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we adopt Resolution 2017-08 RDA authorizing the chair of the redevelopment agency to enter into and execute a participation agreement with St. John Properties in the Grove Tower Economic Development Project area. The participation agreement sets for the conditions of reimbursements to St. John Properties for certain costs involved in developing in the project area and providing for an effective date.
I'll second it.
We have a motion. Eric?
Yes.
Sid?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
And Diana?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Hopefully they'll get that done quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you, Randy.
Here's my agenda.
Yes.
Sorry.
Should I make the motion?
Here we go. Yeah, we need to come back out of, the redevelopment agency and reconvene as the city council.
Okay, make the motion that we come out of the RDA and reconvene as the city council. Welcome, Daniel. It was just approved 4-1.
So we have a motion minus that last piece. Okay.
Second.
We have a second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We are now reconvened as Pleasant Grove City Council. Okay, back to item
12.
Was it item 12?
Yes.
Okay, review and discuss the September 12th agenda. Scott, can I have you walk us through that? Because mine looks fairly empty.
It
is pretty empty.
We do have a couple things that we've been working on as staff. Chief Smith has the task force that would like to come and do a presentation about, in essence, some of the things that they are doing to update our council on that. And then we want to have a report on our summerbration, which we thought was very successful, and talk a little bit about next year on some potential ways to do that. So we had a person that did this for the city. She'll be here, and we'll be able to talk through that. So that's our two items at this point. There could be, there's one or two that are still out there, sorry. But these are the two that we have on for right now.
How many meetings are there now between the end of the year? No, I'm serious. When I started working on the calendar, it was pretty slim.
No, I mean, just the first, second, and third Tuesdays, except for when we get to November, December.
7.
You know better than I would.
Oh, okay, just saying. Okay. Any discussion on the agenda?
Can you give us a little hint of what the task force will be talking about, Chief? Or is it going to be a surprise?
No, there's no surprise. The reason I wanted them to come is we have an officer that functions on that task force. I sit on the board of directors on the task force, and we throw some resource into this countywide major crimes task force. So I want the city to understand the value that we get from being part of that task force, what they're doing, and the level of work that they're doing. I think you'll be actually pretty surprised at the level of work and how high up the food chain they're dealing with the drug problems in our area.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we actually read some things that we didn't know about in the last month or two, where our guys had been involved in some pretty big sting operations. And when it came to light what all had been done, it was extensive.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead then and look at our neighborhood and staff business. Libby, do you have anything? Okay. Marty? Yeah, I know, usually third, but you're in a different
Like I don't want to be second. No. Yeah, things are going well with the construction progress. We've got 900 South, water, sewers done, curb and gutters being installed today, tomorrow. Then it'll be turned over to the road contractor. Road should be completed again mid to no later than the end of October. So lots of stuff happening up there. We have 700 South. Planning on paving the north half of the road of 700 South, I think next week, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll have a coordination meeting on Thursday morning to coordinate that. So some great work moving forward there, and then they'll tear up the south side of the road and redo all that. Our water line, sewer line is just getting finished up on 700 South as well. So lots of progress happening on all of those projects, and looking forward to having some rest here after October.
What's the status on 100 East?
100 East, we've had some great meetings there. We had our 60% design review meeting a couple weeks ago. End of September, they'll have a 90% design review. At that time, I believe they're planning another public hearing in Cedar Hills, and so they'll send us that information as soon as they establish the date for that. As far as Pleasant Grove is concerned, it's looking really good. For the things that we've discussed as far as what we're trying to accomplish with the projects, the improvements that are being installed. We are working on a couple of things with some sewer lines that have been discussed to be able to be extended up in the road that are needed in a couple of areas. I've got those numbers back today, and we're going to have to talk further how we accomplish those projects, but yeah, things are going well and looking good for the improvements to be installed in Pleasant Grove.
Do we have like an estimated start date?
I believe they're planning to bid it mid-October, get a contractor on board in November. There's utility work that could be done starting around that time. I think they're going to leave the schedule a little bit open to each of the contractors. That'll help them get some pretty good bids. There's also concrete work that could be done over the winter. All the curb and gutter that's going in could be done over the winter time, and then we would expect hit the ground running in the spring, and it'll probably take all spring, summer to get the project done, hopefully be completed by the end of October next year.
Wonderful. Thank you. Daniel?
No. I didn't want to say something. But.
Okay. Denise?
No.
Scott?
Nothing.
Tina?
Just to inform the mayor and council that we've become aware of a possibility of grant money from the state for indigent defense, and I'll be meeting with Linden City. We've found out that the success ratio goes up for applying for the grant if it's a joint application between two cities. So since our judge is the same one for both cities, we're going to apply together. We'll know more after the 22nd. We're going to have a meeting with the state representative for the grant to see the process and what the potential is for the amount.
Great. Thank you. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Sherry?
They worked on electrical here all day today for the elevator, and they'll break ground sometime this week, is the last I heard. So it's really happening. And the rest of the library, it's plugging along. We're doing well.
Oh, congratulations.
That's exciting. Let us know when the groundbreaking happens, if you get advance notice, and if there's going to be any kind of event associated with
We
the groundbreaking.
haven't planned any official event. We'll for sure have a ribbon cutting.
Okay.
Thanks, Sherry. Anything else? Okay. David?
Nope.
Nothing? Chief Mike? No? Chief David?
Oh, just one thing. I was able to capture some time lapse of the events that took place in an area south of us, as political as I can. I ran into some computer glitches, but I've got a person at the station working on getting that posted. It's really pretty fun.
Oh, okay.
Will you send an email out when you get that?
Yeah, if I can get it up, then I'll send everyone a link.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you. And thanks to everyone that participated and made that event as peaceful as it was. I was personally surprised at when the bucket touched the brick. I mean, I was not expecting it to just crumble. I was expecting it to kind of take a little bit of effort, but that didn't appear to be that way. So, anyway, thank you. No one got hurt. Kathy? Diana? Eric? Nope. Sid?
Yes, the Heritage Festival is Monday, September 11th in the
Next
downtown park. Yes. It's normally been on a Saturday, but we're moving that to Monday. We're going to try something for family night, try and, encourage families to come down 5 to 9 in the downtown park, and it's going to be just, like we have in years past, and we have some new booths this year, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So come down. It's our 167th birthday, so come and have some birthday cake, listen to live music.
Food trucks?
There's going to be food, not specifically
Not food,
food trucks,
food
but there will
trucks,
be
okay.
food. And then like a petting zoo. It's just going to be really fun. So it's something for the whole family. So come down and celebrate Pleasant Grove's birthday.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, and the Walker Brothers are performing, so what other incentive do
When
you need?
yeah, the Walker Brothers.
They're really good, especially this guy. Lynn? That was a warm-up for you.
We've got, yeah, great, thank you. We have the Battle Creek as well as the Grove Creek detention basins going out. They're out for bid. We had the walkthrough last week, and they'll be out, and that'll be bid this week, and we should be getting started on that with that group. So
Good.
that's taking place.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Ben?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. We've signed our plat. Calendar. Council meeting next week, Tuesday. Heritage Day's on Monday. Another council meeting on the 19th. Looks like nothing else, right? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion that we adjourn.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.